My name is Maya, I am 46 years old, and I live in a quiet neighborhood in Seattle. They say pride is a sin, but looking at my son Daniel in his graduation gown, I didn't care. He had worked so hard for 4 years. He worked nights. He studied weekends, he never complained. I was ready to scream his name when they called it. I wanted this day to be perfect. Then I saw them. My sister Monica and her son Brandon were pushing through the crowd. I hadn't invited them. I knew better, they always ruined everything. Monica wore a bright red dress that screamed for attention. Brandon looked bored typing on his phone. My stomach dropped. I tried to ignore them. I tried to focus on Daniel. But I should have known that silence wouldn't save us. I should have known that before the day was over, my son's achievement would be stolen, and my family would be laughing at his pain. I thought I was there to celebrate a beginning. I didn't know I was about to end my relationship with my sister forever. But before I tell you how everything flipped and subscribe, drop a comment, where are you watching from? My name is Maya, I am 46 years old, the stadium was packed. It was a hot day in late May. The sun was beating down on the metal bleachers, but I didn't mind the heat. I sat there with my program rolled up in my hand, tapping it against my knee. I was nervous. I was excited. This was the day I had waited for. This was the day Daniel had worked for. I looked around at the other parents. They all looked happy. Some were fanning themselves with hats. Some were holding flowers. Everyone was smiling. I wanted to be like them. I wanted to just be a proud mother watching her son. But I couldn't relax. Next to me, my sister Monica shifted in her seat. She let out a loud sigh. "It is so hot," she complained. She wasn't whispering. "Why do they make these things so long? It's just a piece of paper." I tightened my grip on the program. "It's important, Monica," I said quietly. "It's a big achievement." She rolled her eyes. She was wearing a red dress that was too tight and too bright for a morning ceremony. She wanted people to look at her. She always wanted people to look at her. "It's a general business degree, Maya," she said, waving her hand like she was shooing away a fly. "Everyone has one. It's not like he's becoming a doctor." Her words were like little needles. They poked at my happiness. I tried to ignore them. I looked past her to her son, Brandon, my nephew. Brandon was 23, the same age as Daniel. He was sitting slumped over, staring at his phone. He hadn't looked up once since we arrived. He was wearing jeans and a t-shirt. I had asked him to wear a nice shirt. I had asked him to look presentable for his cousin. But he didn't care. "Brandon," I said softly. "Daniel is going to walk soon. Can you put the phone away?" Brandon didn't even look at me. He just grunted. "Leave him alone," Monica snapped. "He's bored. This is boring. Besides, he's busy networking. He's a very popular boy." I bit my tongue. I knew Brandon wasn't networking. He was playing a game. I could hear the little electronic sounds coming from his phone. Ping, ping, crash. I took a deep breath. I told myself, focus on Daniel. Don't let them ruin this. I looked down at the stage. The graduates were sitting in rows of folding chairs. They all looked the same in their black gowns and square caps. But I knew exactly where Daniel was. I could spot him by the way he sat. He sat up straight. He was paying attention to the speaker. Daniel had worked so hard. I remembered the nights he fell asleep at the kitchen table with his books. I remembered the weekends he stayed home to study while his friends went to parties. I remembered the extra shifts he picked up at the coffee shop to pay for his textbooks. He never asked me for money. He knew things were tight for me. He wanted to do it on his own. And he did. He did it all. The speaker finished his long speech. Finally, the dean stood up. It was time. "Will the candidates for the School of Business please rise?" the dean announced. My heart jumped into my throat. This was it. The students stood up. A cheer went through the crowd. I clapped my hands. I clapped until my palms hurt. They started calling names. It went alphabetically. I waited. I watched. "Daniel James Miller," the announcer's voice boomed over the speakers. "Summa cum laude. Summa cum laude," with highest distinction. I stood up. I couldn't help it. I jumped to my feet. "That's my son," I yelled. "That's Daniel," I waved my arms. Daniel walked across the stage. He looked tall and handsome. He shook the dean's hand. He took his diploma. He looked up into the stands. I knew he couldn't see me in the crowd, but he smiled anyway. He raised his diploma in the air. I felt tears stinging my eyes. I was so proud. My chest felt like it was going to burst. Then I heard a laugh, a sharp, cruel laugh. I looked down. Monica was still sitting. She hadn't stood up. She wasn't clapping. She was looking at her nails. "Summa cum laude," she mimicked the announcer. Sounds fancy, probably just means he was a teacher's pet. I froze, I stopped clapping, I looked at her in shock. He worked hard for that, Monica, I said. My voice was shaking. He had a 4 GPA, that is not easy, Monica shrugged. Books are easy, Maya, real life is hard. Brandon knows real life, he has street smarts. Daniel just knows how to take tests. It's not the same thing. Brandon finally looked up from his phone. He looked at the stage where Daniel was walking down the stairs. Nerd, Brandon muttered. He snickered. Monica patted Brandon's arm. It's okay, honey, you have personality. That takes you further than grades. I sat back down slowly. The joy was draining out of me. It felt like cold water was filling my shoes. Why did they have to be this way? Why couldn't they just be happy for him? Even for 1 minute. I looked at Daniel again. He was back in his seat. He looked happy. He didn't hear them. He didn't know what his aunt and cousin were saying. I decided right then that I wouldn't tell him. I would protect this moment. I would keep a smile on my face. I would act like we were a normal, happy family. Let's go, Monica said, standing up before the ceremony was even over. I'm hungry, and my feet hurt. We saw him walk. That's enough. We have to wait until the end, I whispered. It's rude to leave. I don't care, Monica said loudly. People in front of us turned around to look. She didn't even blink. I'm going to the car. Hurry up, Maya. Don't be dramatic. She grabbed her purse and started pushing past people in the row. Brandon followed her, stepping on people's feet without saying sorry. I sat there for 1 more second. I looked at Daniel's back. I wanted to stay. I wanted to watch every single student. I wanted to throw my cap in the air with them. But I knew if I stayed, Monica would cause a scene in the parking lot. She would scream. She would make Daniel feel guilty, so I got up. I lowered my head. I followed my sister and my nephew out of the stadium, leaving my son's celebration behind. We waited by the car for 20 minutes before Daniel came out. When he finally walked up to us, he was beaming. His gown was unzipped, flapping in the wind. He held his diploma covered tightly in both hands. I did it, Mom, he said. He came right to me. I hugged him hard. I smelled the sweat and the cheap fabric of the gown. It was the best smell in the world. I am so proud of you, I whispered into his ear. So proud. Thanks, Mom, he said. He pulled back and looked at Monica and Brandon. He smiled at them too. He was always so kind. He always tried so hard to please them. Did you guys see me? Daniel asked. Monica checked her reflection in the car window. We saw, she said flatly. You walked, good job. Yeah, good job, college boy, Brandon said. He didn't look up from his phone. Daniel's smile faltered a little, but he kept it on his face. Thanks for coming, he said. Let's eat, Monica said. I'm starving. Maya, where are we going? I hope it's not that cheap diner you like. No, I said. I booked a table at Giovanni's. Monica's eyebrows went up. Giovanni's, that's pricey. You sure you can afford that? I saved up, I said simply. It's a special occasion. We got into the cars. I drove Daniel. Monica and Brandon followed us. In the car, Daniel was quiet for a moment. Then he looked at me. Are they okay? He asked. Aunt Monica seemed annoyed. She's just hot, I lied. You know how she gets in the heat. Don't worry about it. Today is about you. We arrived at the restaurant. It was a nice place. White tablecloths, cloth napkins. Candles on the table even though it was daytime. The waiter seated us at a round table near the window. I sat next to Daniel. Monica and Brandon sat across from us. The waiter came over. Welcome. Can I start you with drinks? I'll have the Cabernet, Monica said immediately. The reserve bottle and bring 2 glasses. Brandon will have some. I looked at the menu. The reserve bottle was $80. Monica, I said softly. Maybe just a glass. Oh, relax, Maya, she snapped. It's a celebration, isn't it? Don't be cheap on your son's big day. She made it sound like I was the one ruining it. I looked at Daniel. He looked embarrassed. It's fine, Mom, he whispered. Fine, I told the waiter. The bottle. We ordered food. Monica ordered the steak and lobster. Brandon ordered 2 appetizers and the largest pasta dish. I ordered a small salad. Daniel ordered chicken. While we waited for the food, the tension at the table was thick. I tried to make conversation. So, Daniel, I said brightly, how does it feel to be done? It feels weird, he laughed. No more homework tonight. You have to start looking for a job now, Monica interrupted. She poured herself a large glass of wine. The free ride is over. He has a job, I said. He's been working all through school. I mean a real job, Monica said. A career. Brandon is already interviewing for top positions. Big marketing firms. I stiffened. I knew about those interviews. I was the one who set them up. Brandon had asked me for help weeks ago. I had used my old contacts from my time in HR to get him a foot in the door. I hadn't told Monica I did it. She would just say I owed it to them. That's great, Brandon, Daniel said sincerely. Good luck. Brandon just shrugged and stuffed a breadstick in his mouth. The food came. We ate. Monica complained that her lobster was tough. Brandon burped loudly and didn't say excuse me. Finally, the plates were cleared. It was time for the gifts. I reached into my purse. I pulled out a small blue envelope. My hands were trembling slightly. Daniel, I said. My voice was thick with emotion. I have something for you. The table went quiet. Even Brandon looked up. I handed the blue envelope to Daniel. He took it carefully. Mom, you didn't have to, he said. Open it, I urged. He slid his finger under the flap and pulled out a card. It wasn't just a greeting card. Inside, there was a gift card. A Visa gift card. I had been saving $50 a month for 4 years. Every time I got paid, I put $50 away. I skipped lunches. I didn't buy new clothes. I drove my old car until it rattled. The gift card was for $2,000. Mom, Daniel gasped. He stared at the numbers written on the back. This is too much. It's for your new life, I said. Tears pricked my eyes again. For a deposit on an apartment, or a new suit for interviews, or just to have a cushion. I want you to start strong. Daniel looked at me. His eyes were wet. Thank you, Mom, I love you. He placed the card gently on the table next to his empty dessert plate. He reached over to hug me. That's nice, Monica said. Her voice was cold. She was staring at the card on the table. Must be nice to have that kind of money to throw around. I saved it, Monica, I said. Whatever, she muttered. She reached into her massive tote bag. Here. From us? She tossed a small, crumpled bag onto the table. It wasn't wrapped. Daniel picked it up. Thank you, Aunt Monica. He opened it. It was a keychain. A plastic keychain with the university logo on it. It probably cost $5 at the campus bookstore. Thanks, Daniel said. He truly tried to sound grateful. I need a keychain. Yeah, don't lose it, Monica said. She finished her wine. Then it happened. The waiter came by to refill water glasses. Daniel turned his head to say thank you. In that split second, Brandon reached out. His hand moved fast, like a snake. He grabbed the blue gift card from the table. He didn't look at it. He just pulled it toward him. I blinked. I thought he was just looking at it. I thought he was curious. Brandon, I said. Brandon didn't give it back. He shoved the card into his jeans pocket. Daniel turned back around. He looked at the table. He looked at the empty spot where the card had been. He looked at Brandon. Brandon, Daniel said. He sounded confused. That's mine. Brandon leaned back in his chair. He crossed his arms. He had a smirk on his face. A nasty, entitled smirk. I need it more, Brandon said. The words hung in the air. Simple, direct, crazy. Excuse me, I said. My voice went high. I need it more, Brandon repeated. He spoke slowly, like we were stupid. Daniel is a nerd. He's going to get some boring job and save money. I have a life. I have dates. I need clothes. I deserve this. I looked at Monica. I expected her to yell. I expected her to grab her son's ear and force him to give it back. I expected her to be horrified. Monica looked at Brandon. Then she looked at me. And then she laughed. The sound of Monica's laughter was worse than a slap in the face. It wasn't a nervous laugh. It was a genuine, amused chuckle. She picked up her wine glass, saw it was empty, and set it down hard. Oh, Brandon, she said, shaking her head. You are terrible. She didn't tell him to give it back. She didn't scold him. She acted like he had just told a funny joke. My hands were shaking. I placed them flat on the table to stop them. Monica, I said. My voice was very low. Tell him to give it back. Now. Relax, Maya, Monica sighed. She looked bored. Don't be so dramatic. They're cousins. They share. Daniel doesn't mind sharing, do you, Daniel? She turned her gaze on my son. It was a look I knew well. It was a look that said, don't you dare cause a problem. Don't you dare make me look bad. Daniel looked at his aunt. Then he looked at Brandon. Brandon was staring him down, daring him to speak. It's $2,000, Daniel whispered. He looked sick. Mom saved for years for that. So, Brandon said. He patted his pocket. You have a degree, right? Mr. Summa cum laude. Go make money, I'm broke. Mom won't give me cash, I need this. It's theft, I said. I started to stand up. Brandon, give it to me, right now. People at the other tables were starting to look. I saw a couple near the door watching us. The waiter stopped near our table, holding a pitcher of water, looking unsure of what to do. Monica saw the people looking, her eyes narrowed. "Sit down, Maya," she hissed. "You are making a scene." "I'm making a scene?" I asked. I felt like I was going crazy. "Your son just stole $2,000 from my son at the dinner table." "He didn't steal it," Monica said. "He's borrowing it. Family helps family. God, you are so selfish. You always have been. You think you're better than us because Daniel gets good grades. You think you can just flash money in our faces." "It was a gift," I cried. "It's family harmony," Monica shouted back. "Just let it go, don't ruin the day over money." "It's tacky." She used that word, tacky, like I was the one being rude, like protecting my son was bad manners. I looked at Daniel. His face was pale. He was looking down at his plate. He was shrinking. He was making himself small. He had spent his whole life doing that around them, making himself small so they wouldn't attack him. I looked at Brandon. He was grinning. He knew he had won. He knew his mother would protect him. He knew I hated conflict. I looked at Monica. She was glaring at me, challenging me to fight her. If I screamed, she would scream louder. If I called the police, she would tell everyone I was a crazy, jealous sister who attacked her nephew. She would ruin Daniel's memory of this day forever. It would become the day his mom went crazy at a restaurant. I felt a coldness settle in my chest. It started in my heart and spread to my fingers. It wasn't fear. It wasn't sadness. It was clarity. For 20 years I had played this game. I had apologized when I wasn't wrong. I had given them money I didn't have. I had kept the peace. I had swallowed my pride. And this was the thanks I got. My son robbed at his own graduation dinner. I looked at Daniel. I saw the pain in his eyes. He was waiting for me to fix it, or he was waiting for me to surrender. I took a deep breath. I sat back down. "Fine," I said. The word was quiet. Monica smiled. It was a smile of victory. "See, was that so hard? Family is more important than money." I turned to Daniel. I reached out and took his hand. His hand was cold. "Let it go, Daniel," I whispered to him. "Mom," he looked at me hurt. "But, let it go," I said again. I squeezed his hand hard. I looked him right in the eyes. I tried to send him a message with my eyes. "Trust me, just wait." Daniel saw something in my face. He stopped arguing. He nodded slowly. "Okay," he said softly. "Fine, keep it, Brandon." Brandon laughed. "Thanks, cuz I knew you were cool." "Check, please," I called to the waiter. I paid the bill. I paid for the steak. I paid for the lobster. I paid for the wine I didn't drink. We walked out of the restaurant. The sun was setting now. The air was cooler. "Well, that was lovely," Monica said in the parking lot. She picked her teeth with a fingernail. "We should do this more often. Proud of you, Daniel. Good luck with the job hunt." She didn't hug him. She just got in her car. Brandon didn't say anything. He got in the passenger seat and immediately pulled out his phone, probably to spend my money online. I watched them drive away. I watched their taillights disappear around the corner. Daniel was standing next to me. He looked defeated. His shoulders were slumped. "I'm sorry, Mom," he said, his voice cracked. "I should have fought him for it. I didn't want to make Aunt Monica scream." I turned to him. I put my hands on his shoulders. "Do not apologize," I said firmly. "You did nothing wrong. You are a good man, Daniel. You are kind, and you are 10 times the man Brandon will ever be." "But the money," he said. "All your savings." "It's just money," I said. And for the first time I meant it. Money could be replaced. Dignity could not. "Get in the car," I said. "Let's go home." I drove home in silence. But my mind wasn't silent. My mind was a machine. I was replaying every insult. Every smirk. Every time Monica told me I was nothing. I wasn't going to yell. I wasn't going to beg for the money back. I had something much better than a scream. I had the truth. And I had the power to use it. The house was quiet. It was 11:30 p.m. Daniel had gone to his room hours ago. He said he was tired, but I knew he was just sad. He should have been out celebrating with friends. He should have been happy. Instead, he was lying in the dark, feeling foolish because his own family treated him like garbage. I sat at the kitchen table. The only light came from the screen of my laptop. I had a cup of tea next to me, but it was cold. I hadn't taken a sip. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. I had opened my email. I was looking at a message in my sent folder. It was dated 3 weeks ago. To Sarah Jenkins, HR Director, OmniCorp Marketing from Maya Miller. Subject: Recommendation for Brandon Davis. Dear Sarah, I hope you are well. I am writing to personally recommend my nephew, Brandon Davis, for the Junior Marketing Associate position. He is bright, energetic, and eager to learn. I believe he would be a great asset to your team. I read the words. They tasted like ash in my mouth. Bright, energetic, eager to learn, lies, all lies. I had written that email because Monica begged me. She had called me crying, saying Brandon couldn't catch a break. She said he just needed a chance. She said he had changed. I believed her. Because that's what I did. I believed in family. So I used my reputation. Sarah Jenkins was an old colleague. She trusted me. When I vouched for Brandon, she pulled his resume to the top of the pile. She gave him an interview he wasn't qualified for. She was ready to hire him next week. I thought about the restaurant. I thought about Brandon snatching the card. I need it more. I deserve this. He didn't deserve a job. He didn't deserve a career handed to him. He was a thief. He was lazy, and he was cruel. If he got this job, he would be a nightmare. He would be rude to coworkers. He would steal credit. He would probably steal lunch from the fridge. And when he inevitably failed, it would reflect on me. Sarah would ask me, "Why did you send him to us?" I looked at the cursor blinking on the white screen. I hit reply to my own email. The subject line popped up. Ray, recommendation for Brandon Davis. I started typing. My fingers moved fast. I didn't have to think about what to say. The words poured out of me. Dear Sarah, please disregard my previous email regarding Brandon Davis. I need to retract my recommendation immediately. After observing his recent behavior, I can no longer ethically vouch for his character, professionalism, or integrity. I made a mistake in assessing his readiness for a corporate environment. He is not suitable for your company. Hiring him would be a risk I cannot support. I apologize for any inconvenience this causes you. Please trust that I am telling you this to protect your team. Sincerely, my eye stopped. I read it over. It was harsh. It was direct. It was fatal to his chances. Sarah trusted me. When she read this, Brandon wouldn't just lose this job. He would be flagged. HR people talk. His name would be mud before he even started. My heart hammered in my chest. A voice in my head, Monica's voice, whispered, "You're betraying family. You're ruining his life." Then I remembered Daniel's face when the card was stolen. I remembered Monica laughing. They didn't care about ruining Daniel's moment. They didn't care about my sacrifice. They called it family harmony when they walked all over us. But when we stood up for ourselves, they called it betrayal. Not anymore. I wasn't doing this for revenge. I told myself that. I was doing it for justice. I was doing it because Brandon needed to learn that actions have consequences. He thought he could take whatever he wanted because he was family. He was about to learn that the real world doesn't care about your DNA. The real world cares about how you treat people. I moved the mouse. The cursor hovered over the blue send button. I didn't hesitate. I didn't flinch. I clicked, sent. The message whooshed away. It was done. I sat back in my chair. The house was silent, but for the first time all day, the silence didn't feel heavy. It felt clean. I closed the laptop. I took my cold tea to the sink and poured it out. I went to Daniel's room. I opened the door quietly. He was asleep, curled up under his blanket. He looked so young. "I got you, baby," I whispered into the dark. "Mom's got you." I went to my own bed. I pulled the covers up. I knew what was coming. I knew that on Monday morning the phone would ring. I knew Monica would scream. I knew the storm was coming. Let it come. I was ready. I closed my eyes and fell into a deep, peaceful sleep. Sunday passed in a strange, heavy silence. I cleaned the house. I did laundry. I cooked a roast for dinner. I moved through the rooms like a ghost. I was waiting. I knew the bomb I had planted was ticking, but I didn't know exactly when it would explode. Monday morning arrived with a gray sky and the sound of rain hitting the windows. It was a gloomy day, the kind of day that makes you want to stay in bed. But I was up early. I made coffee. I sat at the kitchen island, staring at my phone. At 9 a.m., the business day started. At 9:15 a.m., Sarah Jenkins at Omnicorp would open her email. At 9:30 a.m., my phone rang. It wasn't Sarah, it was Monica. I looked at the screen. Monica flashed in bright white letters. My stomach tightened just a little, not out of fear but out of anticipation. I knew what this was. I let it ring. It stopped. 2 seconds later, it rang again. I picked it up. I swiped the green button. I didn't even say hello. "What did you do?" Monica's voice was so loud I had to pull the phone away from my ear. She wasn't speaking, she was shrieking. It was a raw, animal sound. "Good morning, Monica," I said calmly. I took a sip of my coffee. "Don't you play dumb with me, Maya, don't you dare." She was hyperventilating. I could hear her pacing. I could hear the frantic clicking of her heels on her hardwood floors. Brandon just got an email from OmniCorp. They canceled his interview. They canceled it, Maya. Oh, I said, that's unfortunate. Unfortunate. Unfortunate, she screamed the word. They said they received new information regarding his suitability. They said he is no longer a candidate for this or future roles. They blacklisted him. What did you say to them? I set my mug down on the counter. The ceramic made a solid clink sound. I told the truth, I said. There was a silence on the other end, a shocked, heavy silence. Then the explosion came. You saboteur. You jealous, bitter witch. The insults poured out of her like sewage. You ruined his future. He was going to make 6 figures. He was going to be a manager. How could you do this to family? How could you betray your own blood? He isn't a manager, Monica, I said. My voice was steady. I was surprised by how steady it was. He's a thief and he's a bully. Because of the gift card, she shrieked. Are you insane? You destroyed his career over a stupid $2,000 gift card. I would have paid you back, eventually. You wouldn't have, I said. But that's not the point. You told me at the restaurant that Brandon has street smarts. You said he knows real life. Well, this is real life, Monica. In real life, when you steal from people and act like you're entitled to the world, people don't want to hire you. Fix it, she demanded. The anger turned into panic. Call Sarah back, right now. Tell her you were drunk. Tell her you lied. Tell her anything. Fix this, Maya. He's crying. My baby is crying. I pictured Brandon crying. I pictured him sitting on his expensive leather sofa, the one Monica bought on credit, realizing that for the first time in his life, Mommy couldn't yell his way out of a problem. No, I said. What did you say? I said no, I won't call her. I retracted my recommendation. I won't give it back. I will come over there, she threatened. Her voice dropped to a low, dangerous growl. I will come over there and tear your house apart. I will make your life a living hell. Do you hear me? I looked around my clean, quiet kitchen. I looked at the photos of Daniel on the fridge. Monica, I said, do you remember what you said to me when Brandon took the money, when Daniel was sitting there humiliated? She didn't answer. She was just breathing heavy, jagged breaths. You told me to let it go, I said. You said it's family harmony, so I'm giving you your own advice. I paused. I wanted her to hear every syllable. Let it go, Monica. It's just a job. I hung up the phone. My hand was trembling, but I felt a rush of adrenaline. It wasn't fear, it was power. I had taken the weapon she used against me, her dismissal, her cruelty, and I had turned it right back on her. 30 minutes later, the pounding started on my front door. I knew she would come. Monica couldn't handle being hung up on. She needed to have the last word. She needed to win. I walked to the door. I didn't open it immediately. I looked through the peephole. Monica was standing there, her face red and blotchy, her hair a mess. She was banging on the wood with the flat of her hand. I unlocked the deadbolt and opened the door. She pushed past me before I could even step back. She stormed into my living room, bringing a gust of cold rain and expensive perfume with her. You fix this now, she screamed, spinning around to face me. She pointed a finger in my face. Her nail polish was chipped. You pick up that phone and you tell Sarah that you were jealous. You tell her Brandon is a saint. Get out of my house, I said. I am not leaving until you fix my son's life. I closed the door calmly. I turned to face her. I was done being the doormat. I was done being the nice sister. His life isn't ruined because of me, Monica, I said. I raised my voice. Not a scream, but a projection. A teacher's voice. His life is a mess because of you. Me, she laughed, a crazy, high-pitched sound. I gave him everything. I love him, unlike you who hates her own family. You don't love him, I said. You enable him. You crippled him. I took a step toward her. She looked surprised. I never stepped toward her. I always stepped back. For 20 years I have watched you, I said. The words came out fast, fueled by decades of silence. When he failed a test, you yelled at the teacher. When he got cut from the team, you sued the school. When he broke my window with a baseball, you told me I shouldn't have put a window there. You taught him that nothing is ever his fault. You taught him that he can take whatever he wants and the world will just let him. He is special, Monica yelled. He is a leader. He is a thief, I shouted back. He stole from his cousin at a graduation dinner. He looked Daniel in the eye and took his money because he felt entitled to it. And you laughed. You sat there and you laughed. It was a joke. It wasn't a joke to Daniel, I said. And it wasn't a joke to me. That was my blood, sweat, and tears in that envelope. And you let him treat it like trash. Well, guess what? Sarah Jenkins doesn't want a thief. She doesn't want an entitled brat who thinks the rules don't apply to him. Brandon sabotaged himself. All I did was turn on the light so she could see who he really is. Monica's mouth opened and closed. She looked like a fish gasping for air. She wasn't used to this. She wasn't used to the truth. She lived in a fantasy world where she and Brandon were royalty and everyone else was a servant. "You are jealous," she whispered. It was her go-to defense. "You've always been jealous of him, because Daniel is boring. And Brandon shines." "Daniel is kind," I said. "Daniel is honest. Daniel works hard. If that's boring, then thank God for boring, because I would rather have a boring son than a criminal." Monica's face twisted. She looked like she was going to hit me. She raised her hand. I didn't flinch. I looked her dead in the eye. "Go ahead," I dared her. "Hit me, and I will call the police and add assault to Brandon's problems." "Do you want that?" Her hand froze in the air. She saw something in my eyes she had never seen before. She saw that I wasn't afraid of her anymore. The fear was gone. It had burned away in the restaurant when she laughed at my son. She lowered her hand. She let out a sob, a fake, dramatic sob. "I don't even know who you are," she cried. "My own sister turning on me." "I didn't turn on you," I said. "I stood up for myself, finally, now get out. And don't come back until you learn how to respect us. Which means, don't come back." She stared at me with pure hatred. Then she spun on her heel and stomped out the door, slamming it so hard the pictures on the wall rattled. I stood in the silence of the living room. My heart was pounding like a drum. My knees felt weak. I sat down on the sofa and put my head in my hands. I had done it. I had burned the bridge. And looking at the ashes, I didn't feel sad. I felt free. I didn't know Daniel was home. I thought he had gone to the gym. But a few minutes after Monica slammed the door, I heard a creak from the hallway. I looked up. Daniel was standing there. He was wearing his workout clothes, holding his gym bag. He looked pale. His eyes were wide. "Mom," he said softly. "Daniel," I wiped my face quickly. "I didn't know you were here." Did you hear that?" He walked into the living room slowly. He dropped his bag on the floor. "I heard everything," he said. He looked at me with a strange expression. It wasn't fear, it was awe. You got him fired?" Daniel asked. "Or unhired?" "I withdrew my recommendation," I said. "I couldn't let him go there, Daniel. Not after what he did. It wouldn't be right." And I was angry. "I'm sorry if I made things worse." Daniel shook his head. "Worse? Mom, nobody has ever stood up to Aunt Monica like that. Nobody. Not Grandma, not Grandpa, nobody." He sat down next to me on the sofa. He looked at his hands. "I thought you were mad at me," he said quietly. "At the restaurant, when you told me to let it go, I thought you were ashamed of me for not fighting back." My heart broke a little. "Oh, honey, no, never. I was never ashamed of you. I told you to let it go because I didn't want you to get down in the mud with pigs. You get dirty and the pigs like it." He laughed, a small, dry laugh. "But you fought back today," he said. "I did," I said. "Because I realized that protecting you doesn't mean keeping the peace. Sometimes, protecting you means starting a war. I'm sorry it took me so long to learn that." Daniel turned to me. His eyes were filling with tears. "You defended me," he whispered. "You really defended me." "Always," I said. "I will always be in your corner." He leaned into me, resting his head on my shoulder like he used to when he was a little boy. He was a grown man now, a college graduate, but in that moment he was just my son. "Thank you," he said. His voice was thick. "For the gift card, and for this, especially for this." We sat there for a long time. I realized then that for years, I had been teaching Daniel the wrong lesson. I had taught him that family obligation was the most important thing. I had taught him to tolerate abuse because they're family. But that wasn't love. That was submission. Real love was protecting his dignity. Real love was showing him that he was worth fighting for. "What's going to happen now?" Daniel asked, lifting his head. "The family is going to go crazy." "Let them," I said. "We have each other, and we have the truth, that's enough." "Is Brandon really blacklisted?" "Probably," I said. "At least at Omnicorp. And word travels fast in this town. He's going to have to start at the bottom, just like everyone else. He's going to have to learn to work." "He's going to hate that," Daniel smirked. "He is," I agreed. "But it's the best gift I could have given him, a reality check." Daniel was right. The family went crazy. It started that evening. My phone started buzzing and didn't stop. It was the Miller family WhatsApp group. A group chat that included cousins, aunts, uncles, people who hadn't spoken to me in months, suddenly having very strong opinions about my life. Ping, Aunt Linda, Maya, what is this I hear about you sabotaging Brandon? That is low. Ping, Cousin Jerry, family helps family. Maya, you don't mess with a man's livelihood. Ping, Uncle Bob, Monica is hysterical. You need to apologize and fix this. Unbelievable behavior. I watched the messages roll in. It was like watching a swarm of wasps. They didn't know the whole story. They only knew Monica's version. Monica, the victim. Monica, the martyr. She had probably told them I called Sarah out of pure spite for no reason at all. I saw Daniel looking at his phone across the room. He was in the group chat too. Mom, he said, looking anxious. They're tearing you apart in here. Should I say something? No, I said. Don't engage. That's what they want. They want a fight. But they're lying, Daniel said. They're saying you're jealous. They're saying you're crazy. I picked up my phone. I scrolled through the wall of text. Accusations, guilt trips, biblical quotes about forgiveness sent by Aunt Linda, of course. I could have typed out a long explanation. I could have detailed the theft at the restaurant. I could have explained the insults. But I realized, they don't care. They didn't want the truth. They wanted the status quo. They wanted Monica happy because when Monica was unhappy, she made everyone miserable. I was the boat rocker and they hated me for it. I typed one message. To everyone, Monica told us to let the theft of Daniel's graduation gift go because it was just money. I am telling her to let this go because it is just a job. Brandon is an adult. His actions have consequences. I will not apologize for telling the truth. I hit send. The chat exploded. Monica, theft, he borrowed it. You liar, Aunt Linda, Maya, you are being very petty. Uncle Bob. We need to have a family meeting. Sunday dinner. Everyone, I smiled, a family meeting, an ambush. I tapped the 3 dots in the corner of the screen. Group info, exit group. A little box popped up. Are you sure you want to exit Miller family? I had been in that group for 6 years. I had muted it, archived it, ignored it, but I never left. Leaving felt like cutting the cord. I pressed exit. Then, I went to Monica's contact. Block caller, I went to Brandon's contact. Block caller, I looked up at Daniel. I left the group, I said. You did, he looked shocked. I did, and I blocked Monica. I'm done, Daniel. I'm not playing the game anymore. Daniel looked at his phone. I'm leaving too, he said. He tapped his screen. Done. The room felt instantly lighter. The buzzing stopped. The frantic energy dissipated. What if they come here? Daniel asked. Let them come, I said. The door is locked. If they want to scream, they can scream at the siding. We have better things to do. Like what? Like dinner, I said. And like celebrating your graduation properly, without thieves. Without drama. I felt a profound sense of peace. I had lost a sister, yes. I had lost the approval of my extended family, but I had kept my self-respect. And I had kept my son's trust. It was a fair trade. 2 months passed. The summer turned hot and humid. The grass grew tall. The world kept turning. I didn't see Monica. I heard from a neighbor that she was telling everyone I had had a mental breakdown. She told people I was unstable. I didn't care. Let her talk. Her words were just wind. Daniel was doing well. He used the $2,000 gift card, which I had replaced, slowly, from my savings, to pay for a specialized certification course in data analytics. He studied every day. He was focused. He was driven. One Tuesday afternoon, he came running into the kitchen. Mom, he shouted. Mom, look. He shoved his phone in my face. It was an email. Dear Daniel, we are pleased to offer you the position of junior analyst. It was a real job, a good job, with a salary, benefits, and a future. He had gotten it on his own merit. No nepotism, no favors, just hard work. Oh, Daniel, I hugged him. We jumped up and down in the kitchen like little kids. I start in 2 weeks, he said, grinning. And Mom, I'm going to pay you back for everything. You don't owe me anything, I said. Just be happy. That's the payment. Later that week, I went to the grocery store. I turned into the cereal aisle and saw him. Brandon, he was stocking shelves. He was wearing a green vest with a name tag. He looked tired. He looked sullen. I stopped my cart. I didn't mean to stare, but I couldn't help it. He saw me. He froze. He held a box of cornflakes in his hand. He looked at me, and I saw the shame in his eyes. He looked away quickly, pretending to be busy with the boxes. I could have walked over. I could have gloated. I could have said, how's the marketing career going? But I didn't. I remembered what I told Monica. Let it go. He was facing his consequences. He was working a hard, honest job. Maybe it would be good for him. Maybe, just maybe, stocking those shelves would teach him the value of $1 in a way Monica never did. I pushed my cart past him. I didn't say a word. I didn't look back. I walked out to my car into the bright sunshine. I loaded my groceries. I thought about family. For so long, I thought family was defined by DNA. I thought it meant shared history and shared blood. I thought it meant you had to stay, no matter how much it hurt. I was wrong. Family isn't about whose blood runs in your veins. It's about who stands by you when the world falls apart. It's about respect. It's about kindness. Monica and Brandon shared my DNA, but they weren't my family. Not anymore. Daniel was my family. And the friends who supported me were my family. And I was my own family. I got into the driver's seat and started the engine. The radio was playing a song I liked. I rolled the windows down. I drove home to my quiet, peaceful house, where no one was screaming, and no one was stealing, and everything was finally perfectly right.